Hey, this is Zero to Pass coming at you with a video on MLB. So I figured since everyone else is doing this, even though we only really needed one video for this, right? I figured I'd make a video as well to actually show you how you should update your deck. But let's just talk about the product. So yeah, you know, really cool box. I think everything about it is pretty awesome, and it's actually perfect for a premium size deck. So if you want to play Standard Plus, pretty cool. Really like that. The sleeves, they're pretty okay too, but I did re-sleeve it in sleeves that I like better. I always like trolling with other sleeves as well, but these are actually pretty awesome. So yeah, it's awesome. There are a bunch of cards in here that you should replace, and I'm just gonna get to that, and then I'll talk about the product here. The PGs, this is awesome that they give us 4. So the deck is kind of playable right out of the box. That's not actually totally true in terms of being competitive. You do need to make some adjustments to this. If you're playing against a competitive group, you're definitely gonna wanna change this up. So you don't wanna just be eaten alive. But this is awesome. I put in mine from BTO1. Lots of reprints of this festival that was just recent. You can get even better foiling there. It's the triple R foiling. The grade 1s, you don't need any of these at all. Pick your starter. I'm using the Gleam or Gleam as I call it, from the Caravan, but you definitely could use, you know, something more shiny, whatever you want. Poor Gallatin, yeah, you've got better things. So really awesome that the deck is built like that you've got a full set of the perfect guards. So I put mine in the very original Vanguard sleeves, Blaster Blade. So really awesome. Got them from a friend off Vanguardians. Pretty happy about it. I figured I'd go with the original Caravan of him. Really like him. Think it's pretty cool. There are triggers that go along with this as well. There's actually an entire deck, but I've got those triggers elsewhere. So you definitely need your markers. One of my gripes about this, and I've seen other people talk about it, excuse me for clearing my throat there, is that it only comes with 3 force markers. So, but that's just a little thing. It's nothing really to complain about. But you're definitely gonna want more force markers. So I got our Alfredos, and I got just more. So you probably need upwards of like maybe 9 or 10, maybe even 11, depending on how much you spam the force marker, because you're gonna do that. So let's look at the 4 PG draws, 8 crits, and 4 heals. And so, you know, feel free to, some of these are from the Cyquelia set that came out quite a while ago. It was just Kagero and Royal Paladin. And so I decided to change it up a little bit there. But by all means, the triggers are perfectly fine in the deck the way it is. Grade 1s. This card is okay. I say okay because, yeah, it's free. Not exactly. It's an on-hit effect. And I actually don't like on-hit effects. I'm not terribly a fan of it. But if you have a couple of these on board, chances are you're going to be able to attack. Heck, if you even just ride this and then swing, chances are your opponent's going to take that damage. But if your opponent knows what this card does, you might want to think about switching up to Sisyphus. So this is one of the cards that I'd actually recommend for the deck. I have this in here right now because I'm going to play test a little bit more. But Sisyphus, the way he works is you actually look at the top 5 cards to get a grade 3, put it in your hand, and then discard a card. If all your damage zone is face down, he's going to get +5, and that's going to be really easy to do in this deck the way I play it. And I'm going to go over that. So there are a number of ways you can play this deck. Yeah. So I've got 3 of him so far to show you. 2 Marin. Marin was from BTO1. You absolutely want this card. The way Marin works is once per turn, when you put another rear guard in his column, You counterblast 1, you draw a card, and you give this unit plus 3k. So he effectively replaces himself, and you need card advantage in this deck. You really need that. That's something that Royal Paladins has had since VBT 01, and you really should take advantage of this. The other card you want to play, and you want to try to maximize it, is Alan. The way Alan works is it's really similar to Marin, but the way he works is auto. When you place him, you counterblast 1, call up to one card with grade value equal to your Vanguard or less, and you call it to a rear guard, and you can call it to any rear guard position, and this unit gets 3k. So you can put him, you can place him over here, and then you can place a card here, counterblast 1. This is going to get 3k, and then you draw a card. So these 5 cards help you draw cards. Now, the one thing that's really nice about him is you are going to just get the card. You're going to look at the top 7, and you're just going to put the card to hand. Sisyphus, which I recommended as an alternative, you have to discard. But it is a hard search for grade 3. Now, do you need this? Probably not, because you have the Sword of Light and Dark. So, but it's an option. So here we can clearly see that there's more than just a certain grade 2 from a trial deck that you need. You actually want this in here to be competitive. There's really no argument. There isn't. Grade 1 option. Another grade 1 that you can consider, which I like that G Station had mentioned, can you say G, is Javelin. Javelin's really cool. So Javelin, the way he works is when it boosts, if you have 6 units with Blaster in their different card names, choose a rear guard in your opponent's front row and bind it, which is really interesting for, excuse me, it's really interesting for Royal Paladin to have a bind effect. And then rear guard during the battle that it boosted, if you have a Vanguard with Blaster, which you will, or Arc Saver, which you won't, you'll have Blaster. You either have Blaster Dark, Blaster Blade, or Majesty Lore Blaster. It gets +2, so it's a 10k boost. And it's pretty awesome. It has a Blaster name, so Starcall Trumpeter can actually go get this as well out of the discard. We'll get to that. Blaster Dagger is kind of an afterthought, but it's another grade 1 that you can consider. If you have 6 units with Blaster and different card names, they get boost, so you can make your grade 2 Blasters boosters. But I have something else in the deck that I think is more stable than this. When the attack of your Vanguard with Blaster in it or Arc Saver, it's going to be a Blaster, and its card name hits a Vanguard, you may return this unit to your hand. So it kind of has an afterimage effect, which was an old effect, Nubatama, back in G era, where after you attack, you bounce cards to hand. So gives you that shield you need. I don't recommend this, but some people are doing this. This was from the Messianic Blaster deck. Or I should say expansion that had Messianic Blaster in it, where you had all these blasters. Pretty cool, but I'm going to also mention another, just kind of just a shout out for Blaster Rapier. The cool thing about Blaster Rapier is if you have 6 blasters on the board, and if you're running enough blasters to do this, it's going to get +15. The really cool thing about this is when it attacks, if you have Vanguard with Blaster and its card name, look at the top card of your deck, and you put it on the top or bottom of your deck. So this is a card that I'd actually consider teching in over these, to be honest. So they're nice, but this is something that we could consider. Like, seriously consider. So it kind of makes your deck function like OTT in a way. You get to like search off the top. And so, yeah. And it's really easy. It just requires you to have a Blaster on Vanguard, which you're typically going to have. It's a really good card, and they're a really easy way to get this card. And you can actually get it back too if it gets wrecked. So for grade 4s, we have Majesty Lore Blaster. You get the 3 VRs and the 1 SVR. The fact of the matter is the card's just amazing. If Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark are in the soul, it gets a permanent +1k and 5k. So you have 18k on defense if they're in the soul. When it attacks, put 2 rear guards into your soul and get 2 imaginary gifts, gift force. So you're typically going to go force 1. I don't even have force 2 in here. I guess there's small reasons to use force 2, but you're getting crits. So you just got to make sure you either write a blaster and then put the other blaster in, or if you didn't write a blaster for your grade 2, you're going to have the 2 to put them in the soul. And there are ways to get them pretty consistently. So Grade 2s, there's a ton. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the order. So if you're on grade 2 or higher, the resolve one effect below. If you have Blaster Blade in play, you can pitch this, go into your deck and get a Blaster Dark. If you have a Blaster Dark in play, you can pitch this and go get a Blaster Blade. If you have both Blaster Dark and Blaster Blade in play, you can pitch this to go get one of these guys. So do you really need Sisylis? Probably not, because we have this. This is effectively like running 7 grade 3s in the deck. In a way, think of it like that. It makes it pretty easy to think about it that way. So then you've got your 4 Blaster Darks. The thing is, this Blaster Dark, these actually say can be played in a Royal Paladin deck. I'm not so sure Bushiroad is allowing you to play with any other cards. I can't see why not, but I would just recommend having these in the deck if you get called out on it. But with that said, you can go ahead and put in whatever Blaster Blade you want. I put in the Trial Deck 1, Blaster Blades, and also Allen's, just because I have them from then. And it looks basically the same, although from what I'm understanding is the foiling is on the one that comes in here is actually more like the Japanese. So, but yeah, so you're gonna have your blasters, darks and blades, blades and darks, and the fusion, if you will, kind of reminds me of Henshin with a Common Rider. These two guys fused together to give this. It really is that. I think it's pretty cool. So this is the one that everybody talks about, Livaro. Livaro is really cool because when placed from hand, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 card, call it to open R, shuffle your deck. If you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, you can Soul Blast instead. So you could actually go get one of these to then use it. Say you have one counterblast up, you can go get one, or I should say you can play it to then counterblast to go get one, to then Soul Blast to go get another one, or something like that if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to just kind of thin your deck. That's typically not how you're going to do this. You're actually going to use this to go get one of these. You can't really, I guess, yeah, the order can't be placed, so that's just kind of odd. But you're gonna use it to get one of these, or your chances are you're gonna use it to get Starcall Trumpeter. So Starcall Trumpeter, one place, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, return a blaster and its card name, and a 1 Light and Darkness intersects the Light and Dark order, and put them in your hand. If you have a Vanguard with blaster, its card name, this unit gets boosted. This basically is a 10k booster. So it's really good for boosting. The problem with these two cards is, if you use this first, you use up your counterblast. This now needs a counterblast with a Soul Blast. So these don't really work that well together, as some might think. So yeah, there's that. But this is typically gonna be to go get, you could use this first, use that one counterblast you have with a Soul Blast to get whatever you need from the drop zone. And then when you have no counterblast up, you could use this and Soul Blast to go get whatever other piece you need. So they do work together in that regard. So really good card. I'm currently running 3. You can run 4, but there are other things to run. I mean, there's this. This can go get this. This is pretty tech. This is a good tech slot. My tech card is Violinist. So Violinist, the way Violinist works is if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, all of your grade 2 units get boost and can intercept from the back row. So this is something that was and is currently abused pretty well by Altmile. And there is absolutely no reason to not run this in this deck, in my opinion, because we have Livaro, and this is actually what the target is in Livaro as well. A lot of times is you're getting this. You have ways to get your blasters. You've got your Light and Dark. And you can use him, and then you can go get him back with him. You're doing a lot of card draw in the deck. So yes, you want this. But to be competitive, that is not the only card you want. This is a tech slot, which I highly recommend. You can consider this as well. Deck manipulation is always welcome in a competitive scene. Board state manipulation like this is very much welcomed as well. And then you need card draw. So yes, run this. You can keep this. You can consider Sisylis. The nice thing about Sisylis is you don't have to hit, but you have to discard. It replaces itself whatever you get with Sisylis. And the only thing you can get out of here with Sisylis is Majesty Lure Blaster. This guy can get anything with a blaster. Okay? So I would keep him. I actually would totally keep that card. Okay? And then Marin. Marin's great because you can use it once per turn. If your opponent's not playing bind effects, retire effects, this card's money. You're gonna get a lot of value out of it. Typically, I only run 2 because I expect to play 1 and then hopefully use it, you know, that once or twice a game. Allens, on the other hand, these are a little bit less predictable, especially for the opponent, because you're gonna be able to use this on your turn. Every time it's gonna go, it can go in a different place, whereas Marin's kind of stuck in that one column. So these are something that have been reprinted a few times. Marin as well. I believe Marin was in the festival. I actually have one sitting around here. It's over there somewhere. So, you know, Marin, you could run 3 Marin, 4 Allen, or 3 Marin, 3 Allen. You could, you know, vice versa. I am running 10 grade 1s. I'm perfectly fine with that. I have an abundance of grade 2s, which you really need. So, yeah. Again, to be competitive, yes, listen to everyone, get this. And then the other thing you want is right here. And I would say there's at least 1 tech slot. Exculpate the Blaster is another good option. If you're not familiar with what that is, look it up. It's a grade 4 Royal Paladin card that has come out in Viera. All these things are Viera. So you can try that. There's him, or I should say her, and there's also Violinist, which I've choose to go with. So any questions, any comments, please leave them down in the comments below. If there's something you don't like about the build, let me know. This build is actually based off a deck that topped in Japan. I think I may have a few numbers off, but it could actually be a 1-for-1 take from that. So something that did well and something that does well. So if there's things that you don't like about it, I'd say it's probably just because there's a, you know, play style difference. I recommend trying it. One of my gripes with MLB is that it came out way too late. We should have had this deck, and I understand there are reasons why we didn't get it. This should have been back in January, or back in June. As this deck came out, Butterfly Moonlight came out and basically creeped it out. So yes, it's competitive, but we even know from our locals recently that the Charot and Grand Blue Night Rose, those topped, this did not. Did that player have changes? I don't know, I'm not sure. And I need to play more with this deck. I do play a lot of Force decks. Currently my favorite Force deck right now is Gears. Gears attacks 4 times. Once I get Rugal, it's maybe 5 or 6 times. So the thing right now is if a clan can attack more than 3 times, that is giving you an advantage. That is giving you an advantage in the power creep. It's giving you an advantage in terms of competitiveness. And honestly, just it's a lot more fun, to be honest, to be able to do more plays. So this deck very much is reminds me of a Bermuda Triangle deck that plays a little faster than the old Melody of 2019. Kind of feels like that. Are you generating these huge numbers on every column? Pretty quickly, actually. And that's one thing I wanted to mention. Blaster Blade gets a crit basically pretty much if the field's full. You just need, what is it? 4 or more rear guards. So almost a full field. With things like him, you're actually able to spam the board because his ability, you could get yourself to where you have basically no soul on grade 2 because you're using this to just fill your board and just pressure hard. And I do recommend it. I recommend rushing with this deck because it only attacks 3 times a turn. You're gonna want to consider rushing. He gets a extra drive check if you discard a card once per turn and your opponent has no rear guards. So that means you may want to be using their counterblast abilities to cause retire effects, or I should say cause retire to occur. Yeah, and so that's something to consider as well. I actually find myself using this. Is that a smart play? Not always, because these guys are counterblasts. Chances are you're going to use counterblast to draw. You're going to want to use counterblast to revive from the drop zone. So just a few things to keep in mind. But the deck can rush, it can get big, it can hit hard, and it can control the board to a certain degree. So These are all things, and draw cards. And these are all things that we want in a deck typically to be able to keep up with our friends who are playing other competitive decks. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I do recommend getting this product. I think it is a good purchase, especially if you like Royal Paladin. Until next time, take care. Peace.